with Maria Fitzpatrick, our NDP MLA East.
MLA Lethbridge East.
Lethbridge
That's correct.
East.
Yes.
I think we are completely live now. So if you were on the radio listening to us, you can also find us live on Facebook Live, and we can also find us on YouTube on Jess TV. So he's just sharing us. If you want, you can share it on your page.
Okay.
So we always just start our show by just sharing our live feed, so you can tune in with us and watch. So if you go to Jess FM at the top, ready?
Okay.
So go Jess FM. Next space.
Okay, you are shared, Levi, and
Okay,
I am
go top.
shared.
Okay, now that's it. And we look like we are live, right?
And there we are.
Oh, there we are. Now
Yeah.
we gotta hit share on that one. What am I doing that's wrong, Austin?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll see the share button.
Okay, now we should get a share button. I hope.
Oh, just sharing.
That for a sec.
They really just wanted to have a look at my phone.
Exactly. We're getting the secrets.
Shared.
There we
now.
go.
There we go.
We are
Okay.
all live.
All right, we are live on Facebook. If you're listening to us on www.justfm.ca, you can catch our live stream video on www.facebook.com/justfm, as well as our YouTube live.
And we are very happy to have you here, Maria.
I am very happy to be here.
So again, for those just tuning in on our Facebook Live, we are here with Maria Fitzpatrick, who is the MLA East for Lethbridge.
That's correct.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be
We're
here.
really happy you're here.
Now, we know each other like in more social settings, and I've seen you supporting a lot of LGBTQ events, plus in Lethbridge. But they've never sat down and talked politics, and we're excited for you to share with us and the audience, I don't know, some of the stuff that's going on.
Okay, so everybody expects us to be calling an election any moment,
Okay.
and it could get called any moment. But my name's not Rachel Notley,
Okay.
and she's the one who makes the decision when it's going to be called. I'm ready for if it's called. If it got called tomorrow, I'm ready to go. If it doesn't get called until the end of May, I'm still ready to go. I have lots of work to do.
Well, you heard it here first. We are waiting any moment or any time to have the election called or not called.
Yes, until the end of May, and it has to be called by the end of May.
Okay, that is the deadline, is the end of May for the election.
No,
Oh.
the deadline for it to be called
Okay.
is the 31st of May, so it could actually go until the 28th of June.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. And for our listeners, I don't know if you know Maria, but I just want to, of course, this is such a Levi thing, but she's sporting a really great haircut with some purple hair dye. It's kind of your signature thing.
Yes, it is.
I've seen you with purple hair a lot.
Yes.
And is there a significance of the purple?
Okay, I've liked purple since I was a little kid.
Okay.
And, of course, growing up, I went to a Catholic girls' school, and there was no purple. It was navy blue serge uniforms and black stockings, and it was all very dark.
Okay.
And so when I was old enough and out of school, and I could express myself without getting into trouble, I began to wear purple.
Okay.
So I have purple things in my wardrobe that I wear today that are at least 25 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I have new stuff too, but I have lots of older things that are purple that I like. Yeah.
Well, that's something we both have in common, because I love the purple one,
Yes.
Prince, and I like to dress as Prince and wear purple a lot as well.
That is true.
So-
We own a lot of purple garments.
So it's like my wardrobe, black, white, and purple. I just noticed you're sporting purple, so thanks for giving us some insight on that.
Well, I appreciate anybody else who wears purple, and
Awesome.
I've seen you in purple,
There
and
we
it
go.
looks fabulous
Thank
on
you. You
yes.
too. So one of the things I know, that you were with the NDP party, and that was who I voted for, and you hear a lot of things out there, and I don't know. What are like I have a lot of school teacher clients, and they really are pro NDP. They really like that you put money in education, and I know that that's been kind of a hot topic.
It has been a very hot topic, and it's if you've watched Twitter at all over the last few days,
Okay.
you will see all kinds of tweets about the curriculum review.
Right.
So the curriculum in Alberta schools has not been completely reviewed since 1982.
Whoa.
That's
So-
a long time.
That's a long
Before
time.
he was born.
That is definitely pre-me.
And the reality is, economically, if we want to move forward as a province, we need to educate our students so they can move forward, not be educated at the 82 level. Things have changed in the last 30 or 40 years, and we have to keep up with the times. We have had a review of the curriculum that was helped and supported by teachers, by parents, by school boards. There was a lot of people that were involved in the curriculum review, and everything that I have seen has been amazing.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And I think, and you've probably heard it from the teachers, that they want to teach kids to succeed.
Yeah.
And again, you can't succeed if you're back at the 82 level. You need to be looking 10, 15, 20 years to the future in terms of the curriculum. And I think they've done an amazing job. And certainly my concern was the leader of the official opposition has said he is throwing it out,
Yeah.
and you absolutely can't do that. You can't do that.
There's a hot, like our show we usually talk about, for our regular listeners, we talk about pop culture and things that are happening, and we talk a lot about millennials. Well, millennials are like born 85 later, so this curriculum's even born
Before
them.
Yes.
And now we're not even just at the millennials, there's now the,
Generation X,
and
Generation Z, and the I generation is the new generation out now.
and they're getting taught a curriculum meant for before millennials, so
That's right.
before 85, so that's crazy.
Yes. So the curriculum review actually started 6 years ago. So it was under the previous government.
Right, it was
But
under
it
the
was just
Conservative.
That's right. But it was just started.
Yeah.
And it absolutely had to be done.
Yeah.
So our government, in particular Minister Agan, recognized how important it was to get that done. And he said, yes, we're doing it.
Yeah.
The other thing about education is when we came in 2015, the price of oil had just, it hadn't
Plummeted.
bottomed out, but
Yeah.
it was getting close.
Yeah.
And we went from $110 a barrel down to $26 a barrel.
Wow.
That had a huge impact. But we made a decision as a government that we needed to fund for enrollment at school, and we needed to fund to support our healthcare system and our social services,
Yeah.
because we couldn't allow the most vulnerable in our population to absolutely be swept under the rug. And kids in school, teachers, and if you talk to teachers, they will say there are too many kids in the classroom. And you know what? I began, as an adult, I began teaching.
Okay, I didn't know
And yes, so I taught for a couple of years in the school system in Newfoundland, and I taught kindergarten the first year after my first 2 years university, and I went back to university, and then I taught high school phys ed. And I realized at the time that I got a raise in the year I was teaching high school in February. So I had 4 years university and a year's teaching experience. I got a raise to $6,000 a year.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I decided I'd barely be able to pay off my student loan, and I thought I needed another job. But I did come back to teaching when I worked at the jail in Yellowknife.
Okay.
And I was recreation supervisor for a couple of years, and then I went over to the education program, and I was the acting education coordinator, and I taught basic literacy.
Wow.
And there's such a difference teaching what they call a captive audience and teaching in a school. You didn't have to motivate anybody who was in the jail.
Yeah.
They did not want to be doing other things in the jail. They wanted,
liked their class.
They liked the class.
Oh, wow.
And I have one example that I always point to. I had a gentleman in my class who was about 52, 55, somewhere
Okay.
around there, who couldn't read. Couldn't read anything. Didn't know the alphabet. And in 3 months, he was reading at a grade 5 level. So to me, that was just amazing. But again, it was using technology. Because you had to do individual programs, I had convinced the superintendent that we needed some computers to work with people, and they can work on their own when I'm not, like when I'm working with another student, they can continue to work. So that kind of technology was just in the beginning stages.
Yeah, what years are
3
we
months.
talking?
So that would have been
Approximately.
that would have been in 1985.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So
In 3 months.
in 3 months, he went from not recognizing the alphabet
Wow.
to reading at a grade 5 level, and he was in the classroom every morning devouring the newspaper
Yeah.
because he could read it.
Wow. It's
Yeah,
exciting.
it was amazing. So when teachers talk about overcrowded classrooms, I totally get that.
Yeah.
And I understand how important it is for us to do that.
I think the importance that the NDP put on education is so important. One thing I hear again and again from teachers, and even just today, a teacher talking about the overcrowding of classrooms.
Yes.
And it's been a real problem.
Yes.
And they see more and more, I don't want to say developmental issues necessarily, but like there's a lot more challenges for the teachers in the classrooms every day, like than even 10 years ago that they saw.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
they actually need the support. The kids, there's a lot more challenges now, and
There are.
I mean, there's a lot of diagnoses that I'd never even heard of when I went to school. So
Yes.
I know there's challenges, and
Yes.
challenges at home, and teachers are expected to overcome these, but don't always have the support.
No. So when we were elected in 2015,
Yeah.
we made that decision because in the apprentice budget, they were going to cut 10 or 15% from the budget right across the board.
On education right off the top.
Education, social services, healthcare, everything.
Yeah.
And if they had done that, it would have meant that classes that are even feeling overcrowded now
Yeah.
would have had another 10 or 15 students in them.
Wow.
It would have been totally unmanageable to do that.
Yeah, like I hear teachers are having classrooms of 30 and
Yes.
on their own.
Yes.
How do you
Yes.
do that?
Well,
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
You have to have incredible skills
Yeah.
to be able to manage and to teach that many kids. And like you said, kids that have a full spectrum of abilities to learn.
Yeah.
So a challenge is an understatement. Yeah.
What are some important things you think the new curriculum will bring to students? Have you seen this curriculum?
I've seen a couple of pieces of it, and I've seen a lot of people complaining about math and
Okay.
saying that, we've got to go back to basics. And I certainly remember when I was in school doing the multiplication tables.
Mhm.
And it was like, oh my gosh, the teacher would make you do it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you realize there's some tricks to the multiplication tables and makes it a bit easier.
Mhm.
But
More fun.
but how many kids do you know
Yeah.
that actually do a long division on a piece of paper? What do? They take out their cell phone
Yeah.
and they do it on their cell phone. So if there's that kind of technology available,
Yeah.
then maybe what we need to do within the curriculum is provide the ability to use those kinds of things. Certainly if you're going into the science program at the university, you need to use all of those kinds of,
Technologies.
there's skills to using technology to help you move forward.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, every time I've been at the university, I'm blown away by the basic level that they begin with. I mean, I think about some of the science courses I did at university,
Yeah.
and that's probably junior high now.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So things continue to change and evolve, and as you learn more things, you've got to be able to move forward with the curriculum to do that.
I could definitely see that. basic life skills and as a business owner and
Yeah.
hiring people,
Yes.
I noticed that a lot of things are left out, and I think that school could have a lot more life skills in it.
Yes.
There's not a lot of like real life skills. Like I remember I got one semester, half semester of what was it, where you got to learn to write checks. What they call it?
Yeah, I didn't.
It was. They never do that. It was like we had like
But I
one.
had
One semester, oh, what did they call it? I can't remember right now, but we got like one semester of like how to like write a check and how banking worked, and that was it. And it was like you hoped your parents educated you on how to.
Okay, well, I have to say that my parents did. I had a bank account when I was 13.
Okay.
And my babysitting money all
Yeah.
went into that bank
Oh.
account, right? And what I didn't know, though, was that I could keep 25 cents for me,
Yeah.
and the rest of it had to go in. I didn't know that it was my choice.
Oh,
about
they
what
chose
went in.
that.
They chose that's what it should be. But the thing is, my parents also taught me about, you have bills to run if you're in a home, you got to pay the utilities, you got to pay the gas or the oil, you've got to pay the mortgage, and my parents taught me that from a very early age.
And I just
Yeah.
remember the class was called CALM.
Oh, so
Oh,
I did
okay.
career
CALM.
life management.
Yeah, career
Okay,
life
yes.
management. But we
Yeah.
got like one semester. It was like not enough.
I think I had maybe 1 or 2 semesters,
Yeah.
but I also had to do like the robotic babies thing.
Yes.
Career life
Oh, yes.
management. So
Yes.
that was like a fun little thing that we got to do in that course as well.
So
I think
you're
it's
telling
grade
me you
7 or
didn't
so.
you didn't damage the robotic baby?
No, I think I
Yeah.
passed pretty good. I'll never
Okay.
be a father by choice.
With that being said, luckily for me, I had some people in my family who helped me learn about saving money
Yes.
and the value of money.
Yes.
And so I like started putting $50 from my first paycheck into RSPPs, and
Yeah.
I luckily had some good advice like going into life,
Yeah.
and I've done well in those few life skills, and my times tables are really good still.
Excellent.
I kept up on my
Wow,
times
you're
tables.
actually way better at math than I am.
Yeah.
And I hated math, but I can
Yeah.
do the
The basics.
the basics,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and the rest my phone can do.
Yes,
For technologies.
exactly. Yeah.
I was gonna say back to calm the baby thing. Oh man, I didn't get to take care of that baby, but I think parenting classes and relationship classes would even be interesting. But I don't know I don't know what this curriculum will be, but.
Okay, so we never did relationship stuff
When
when,
you
I
went.
was in
Well,
school.
you were at a Catholic school, you said.
Catholic school. The nuns were not going to talk about relationships. No.
Abstinence
and
is key.
yeah, and so I was in Catholic girls' school right to the end of high school, and then my first 2 years at university
Wow.
were in a Catholic girls' college in St. John.
Where in St. John?
Yes.
Okay.
So my second year, I actually changed my major from teaching basic literacy or primary education to high school phys ed. So then I had to go to Memorial and take some classes, but I'd never been in a mixed class before.
Wow.
It was like, oh my gosh, there are boys in my class. Yeah, I'd never been, I had no, I had one brother and he was 10 years younger than me, so
Yeah.
I didn't have any of that, the social skills in terms of, how you behave in that kind of a relationship. It was a bit strange.
Well,
My dad actually had a
Yeah.
similar experience like that too. He grew up in Grand Falls,
Newfoundland.
as
That's right.
Well. He
Yeah.
went to a Catholic all-boys school.
Yes.
So like when he went into high school, it was the mixed
Yeah.
class, and I think he was like kind of.
but you
Everybody
didn't
was a
even,
little
but you didn't even
shaken.
get a
Yeah.
mixed class till university.
Yeah,
Mixed
so I
class.
was second year university,
Wow.
right? Now I was,
That's a lot, I can imagine.
I'd actually only turned 17
Mhm.
at that
Okay.
point, right?
Mhm.
But even so,
Yeah.
it would have been great to have a social skills class that actually taught you some social skills, taught you about boundaries,
Yeah.
taught you about consent,
Yeah.
because none of that was taught when I was in school.
Going to schools now, like I do some talking at the GSAs,
Yes.
and I get to go to some of the high schools and in Lethbridge here, and even one of the Catholic schools, and they had their first GSA this year, so I got to go and meet with the kids, and I just find it so fascinating to go and talk with them. And,
Yes.
and I grew up with an LDS background,
Mhm.
grew up in a Mormon background, so we'd never talked about these things, and to be able to like talk to these kids about their issues, it's so interesting, it's so different.
Yes.
I can't believe how different the classrooms and the kids are now. like compared to even when
And
I went
you're
to high
way
school.
younger than I am.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So they're learning at a way different level. And
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, I went to Beavers, but it was always just boys. But now even Beavers is boys and girls. Like
Yes.
things have changed a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other key points? Oh, wasn't there something that just happened about education in your social media, or that someone was commenting on?
Or roasting you on your
Oh,
social
yes.
media.
So actually, they were roasting me. No, not on social media. On the Herald.
In the Herald.
Yes. So.
Do we want to give this any attention? Can we talk about it?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So
Tell us about the Herald for our listeners who don't know what you do in the
Okay.
Herald.
So once a month, I write a column for the Herald, and I talk about something that's significant that's going on. So I was talking a little bit about education, and I was talking a little bit about infrastructure, and I got raked over the coals because I talked about the hospital.
Okay.
And they talked about the hospital because they said the previous government built it. And they did. But it was basically a shell. And when we came into government, there was, I don't even know the number, there were hundreds of infrastructure projects that had been promised over and over and over again. Some of them had some of the bill done, but there was never enough money to finish them.
Okay.
So
they
we-
had the walls up, but
That's
no
right.
furniture. in it, basically.
Well, no furniture, no
everything.
walls.
No infrastructure, no
yeah,
staff.
Yeah.
No floors, no
Yeah.
staff.
So when we came in, again, we made a decision that these things needed to be finished. And if you've been over to Chinook, you can see this absolutely fabulous 5 floors on that new wing. And the neonatal ward is there. And it is like absolutely fabulous. If you
Yeah.
were going to have a baby and there was anything wrong, that is where you want to be. It's an incredible facility, but we staffed it and we made sure it was finished. So
You have
one
clients
of
who work there.
Yeah,
And they're-
Yeah.
my client is the scheduling manager for the whole neonatal unit.
And sorry.
Excellent.
And you were. And sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah.
Me too.
okay, so another building that I talked about was the Wilson Middle School. We didn't.
Oh.
Okay, we didn't. The Conservatives actually began that.
Okay.
And they had most of it done, and I have to give them credit for that. But we came in and we did give them the money to finish it, and amazing,
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. So we did other things like the Destination Project. So that was $248 million
Wow.
that went into that, so that project can be done.
What is
Another
the destination project? if
the
you don't mind?
Destination
new building
Project
at the
is the
Oh.
the science building at the university, which if you look across the river, you can't miss it.
It's
and
massive and it's gorgeous.
it really is 36,000 square feet, and
Modest.
glass on all of the outside. They've made it as sustainable as they possibly
Wow.
could for that kind of building. Really fantastic building.
Yeah, I want to say if you're listening and not familiar with Lethbridge, we have this big, beautiful, some people don't know how they feel about the look of the university. It's
Yeah.
a big concrete shape built into our coulee, and I always thought it was beautiful. Rumors are it was designed by a guy who designed prisons. but with this big, beautiful building, but now you drive down Scenic, and it seemed like overnight, but I know a lot of planning
Yes.
went into it. There's this huge glass building,
Yes.
and that is the Destination Project.
That's the Destination Project, which is the science center for the university.
And I think you can go view it coming up soon.
You certainly can. So Monday to Friday, you can go and tour the inside of it.
Wow.
Most of what needed to be done is done. There's still about 100 workers there because they're still doing cleanups, finishing on different things. The theater that's in that building, and it seats about 220 students or
Okay.
people. The sound is the best sound that I have heard in
Wow.
ages. So it would be a fabulous place for concerts.
Or to hear you talk.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm hearing impaired. So
Okay.
Brian, the guy who was doing the tour, is standing over at the side and he's speaking, and I can hear every word
Wow.
that he was saying.
This building is a huge glass, bright light on the west side of the city, and I have friends who are part of the designing committee or like looking at it, and even when it went up, they were shocked how big and brilliant it was.
Oh, yes.
It's a mark.
There's one section in the middle, which is hanging classrooms.
Wow.
Okay?
Hanging classrooms?
Well, they're suspended, right? So you'd think you could get in and swing. You can't do that. But it is like there's 2 or 3 floors that underneath the bottom, you're in the lobby area, and you look up, and the classrooms are above you. Right?
Wow.
But wherever you are, there is natural daylight coming in.
So we can thank NDP for this building a little bit?
Well, I think $248 million is a lot, but that's taxpayer money that came back into our city and our region.
And the things that are coming out of the school and the science that's coming out of Lethbridge is just phenomenal, right?
It absolutely is. We've got a footprint in space.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us. Okay, I got distracted from the newspaper story.
Yes.
But what do you mean about a footprint in space?
Okay, so the footprint in space is there was a program for the Herschel Spire Space Station, and Dr. David Naylor and his team at the university developed a piece that went into the telescope that was part of that space station.
Wow.
And you can actually see out into other galaxies. So if you took a picture that was taken by the Hubble telescope, it would look like a dime compared to the picture that you would take on a 16 by 16 picture.
Wow.
So, oh yes, and pretty amazing. And I've certainly bragged about that a lot.
I would.
Friends
And that
who
came
are
right from here.
right from Lethbridge. And Dr. Naylor is like our Lethbridge person. His team are all Lethbridge people.
Wow.
Yeah. And lots of people in the city didn't know about it.
Well, we always are talking about on our show, you asked for it, we're always talking about things to do in Lethbridge and upcoming events. And today, obviously, it's kind of centered around our special guest. But I just want to remind you all that if you want to check out that building, it's Monday till Friday. So that's the 25th.
Yeah, well, I think it's going for a few weeks where you can go.
Okay, so
But
only
if
Monday
you
till Friday.
Go check this building out.
you
Don't
just can't go on the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. But go check. Oh, yes, absolutely check it out.
And you'll be like, wow, this is school nowadays? And you'll reflect on how much things have changed.
Yes. So 4 years when I plan on retiring,
Okay.
I'm going to take classes at the university until I die.
You're gonna retire in 4 years?
Well, I think so.
Well, what if we want you longer?
Well, then we'll have a conversation about that.
Yeah, I heard you can tell, again, we'll go back to the newspaper story. So you can take free classes at the university after a certain age, right?
Yes.
So I don't think everyone knows that. Let's just tell that little tidbit.
Okay, so once you turn 65, you can take courses at the university, and they're free. Now, I don't know if you take them for credit or you just go in and you sit in on the courses.
Yeah.
But you do have to register for them.
Yeah.
And when I went to university, there were courses I wanted to take that weren't in my stream.
Yeah.
So
And when
in 4 years or so,
yeah.
then I can do that. And I can take courses that I couldn't take when I went to university.
Hear that, Mom? Just 3 more years, and you can go to university for free. Let's talk just a little bit about tuitions.
Yes.
At university, it's so much money. I see my friends leaving with these huge debts.
And
Yes.
they're getting bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I can definitely understand that if you're at university, that you had to really try to streamline which classes you wanted. I
Yes.
want to take that, but I can't go another $5,000 in debt.
No,
It-
but it wasn't that much when I was at
Right.
university. However,
Anything we can
it
say about
is.
that? About the tuitions?
Well, yes, we froze tuition.
Ooh, what does that mean?
Well, that meant that tuition prices didn't go up in the 4 years that we've been in government.
Well, we've been living in a deep freeze, and I usually hate a freeze, but a freeze on tuitions going up, I think that sounds great.
Well, I think it's good. The other thing we did, both at the university and the college, was we put money into mental health.
That's so important.
Because, as you said, when people are going to university and they are amassing huge amounts of debt,
Yeah.
there's some stress attached to that, and there's stress with the courses you're doing. And anyway, we felt that we needed to put money into mental health so that there are people on campus that can help.
It seems hard to keep up with Canadian politics. I don't know why, but when you talk to people, they don't always aren't informed. But one thing I do hear about NDP is talking about like mental health, schools, healthcare, where other groups, all I hear is the word pipeline and certain things, right? But it's just, I like to hear, because if we don't grow healthy citizens, we're not going to have a healthy economy or future.
No.
We need, and we've been in a crisis here in our province, and it's not just our province; it's Canada worldwide.
Yeah.
But I think we look at some of the mental health issues that don't get addressed, and I think it's very important.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about the pipeline just briefly.
Yeah, let's just go to
I think that our Premier Rachel Notley has done absolutely every single thing that could be done. And there was an announcement today that we will be shipping up to 120,000 barrels a day, I think it is, on trains.
Wow.
Now, I have to say that would not be my first choice. As a person who is deeply concerned about our environment, a pipeline, a new pipeline that is much better than the 70-year-old pipeline that's in the ground right now, a new pipeline would certainly be, in my opinion, a safer way to do it. But we have to ship our product to Tidewater.
Yeah.
We have to, this resource in our country and in our province supports our whole country. And in fact, if you look at equalization payments that go across the country, those equalization payments happen because we have that resource. And we pay money as a province. We support that equalization. And I agree with the equalization. I came from Newfoundland, and I understand when you don't have resources like we have here. But the other thing that I have to say is that the environment's very important to us.
Yeah.
And it's why we have the carbon levy. So one of the things about the carbon levy is we've invested $1.5 billion that came from that carbon levy to energy sources that are renewable, like solar, like wind. We have really incentivized people to get off oil and to move to something that's going to be better for our environment. We're not getting off oil for a number of years. And
everything is plastic.
Exactly.
There's a need for
this
oil.
Seat,
the
this seat.
Everything.
Yeah, if you took the plastic out of your car,
you
may not even have a shell.
People only think of the oil and the gas, but you've got to
That's
really
right.
think about what oil does, right?
Even the polyester clothes you're wearing.
Yes,
Honestly.
I saw a really cute commercial on oil products. And there's a young guy comes in, he goes to sit down to watch TV, and he picks up the remote control, and all of a sudden the remote control disappears. The couch he's sitting on then becomes a wooden frame. The television disappears. Then his shoes disappear. It was like, oh my goodness, these are all oil-based products.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So certainly, if you want to look at another product, you could look at hemp.
Yeah.
All right. So they're making hemp that can go in terms of the walls that are in your house. You get a wall that's this thick, and the insulation factor is way higher than anything that we're using now. So our forests don't need to be depleted. Hemp is a product you could grow year after year after year, and it grows in 1 year.
We're very pro-hemp here.
Yes.
We're very pro-hemp.
Like Canadian bamboo. Very
Exactly.
renewable.
Yes.
I just want to say about the pipeline, I don't even understand all the controversy, but I always think like when people get upset about current government, didn't another government have 44 years to make a pipeline?
Well, they did.
And there was an older one from the 70s.
Yes. There's one that is 70 years old.
Okay, that's what
all
it
right?
is.
And the new pipeline would have paralleled that line.
Okay.
So it wouldn't have been going through different places. It would have run
The
parallel to that
already
that old
approved
line.
path.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I understand the environmentalists who are concerned about what may happen if there's a leak. And there has been leaks, but that pipeline was 70 years old.
Right.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to say about
Yep,
pipelines
please.
is that we have a resource here that should be going to everybody in Canada first. Okay?
Yeah.
Instead, we are bringing in oil from Venezuela, from Saudi Arabia, and why are we doing that?
I don't understand
Why
it myself.
are we doing that? Yes.
We are all about homegrown here.
Yes.
So
yes.
that doesn't make sense that we're not using that.
That's right. So I've certainly talked to lots of friends of mine from across the country about why are you bringing in oil from other countries when we have oil right here, oil products. So we've done work on that. There's a new refinery that's built. There's a new, let's see if I can get this, a polypropylene something that's developed that is being built in Sherwood Park in the industrial heartland.
Okay.
And again, that's using our oil products to make this other product. That is a very marketable product.
I never heard of that.
Okay, so I'll get you more information about it. But it is looking at all of the different ways we can diversify our economy so we're not stuck in this boom and bust cycle that we are with oil.
Right.
Yeah. But like I said, oil's not going away.
Okay.
Not certainly not I don't see it in the next 30 years. But we have to be prepared, like with our curriculum,
Yeah.
for 20 or 30 years from now, because if not, we're not going to be an entity in the world market at all.
Right.
So we need to move forward.
It's like looking at the school curriculum. If we're not teaching what's happening 10,
Exactly.
20 years in the future, we're going to fall behind.
That's right. So I don't know how much time we've got,
We
but I
still
want
got 20 minutes.
20
Okay.
minutes or so, we're good.
Are you guys enjoying this conversation? Because we definitely are. We want to thank you
Well, We're
again.
even having a couple comments.
We're having some
too,
comments.
so-
We like to look at our comments
Okay.
as we go. Let's see if there's anything good to comment back.
Well, we have a comment from Jonathan Ruzick, who says the UCP he thinks is wanting to bring back how to use a paper ledger for the bank accounts in career and life management studies. So that's just one of the comments.
The misinformation is
Well, that's certainly, they say
they
they
think
want
that-
to go back to basics,
Oh.
but that's fine. If you want to go back to basics, you should know the basics. But the
But
reality
But I'm
is,
sure there's an app for that now,
yes,
too.
yeah,
just
I'm
saying.
sure there is. It's called an Excel spreadsheet.
Yes, exactly. And I think kids are learning how to use Excel
They are.
at a very young age now, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think I was probably one of the last generations to actually have a typing class.
Yeah.
I had to, like, learn how to type when I don't think my brother and sister even
Had to
had typing class because
Yeah.
they already had cell phones.
I'm all for going back to learning writing, handwriting. Like, that's been a skill that they've moved out of schools, but they've been bringing
Yes.
back. Like,
That's
there's
a
certain
very hot
things.
topic right
I
now.
know.
I'm just seeing so much on Facebook right now, like bringing back cursive writing and like Barks Root Beer's logo and people saying like it says bangs.
Oh my
I don't know
gosh.
if that's actually a thing or if people are just making this up to make fun of the government in some way, shape, or form.
Well, I was going to say,
Yeah.
you go first, sorry.
Okay, so I think there's lots of comments, and there's nothing wrong with having those basic skills. But the reality is, if somebody learns to write cursively, in 10 years from now, what is that going to do in terms of having a job?
Right.
What does cursive
Right.
writing mean?
Exactly.
In fact, you probably won't even be using a signature at the bank. It may be
A face scan.
a face
My
scan or
phone.
something,
Yeah,
right?
you need your
Yeah.
Face ID to log into your phone now.
Yes.
And people type because it's faster.
Yeah.
Or dictate
Yes.
into typing, like
Yeah.
automatic dictation transferred into typing. That's kind of like the way things are going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that people at least know how to read printing because
Yeah.
your cursive isn't coming up
Yeah.
on your computer.
Totally. It's not, yeah.
Yeah.
Two quick things. One of the other comments is, Levi, did you just reveal your mother's age? Yes, I did, and it was on purpose. But we're okay with that. We're feeling good at our ages
We
and
are
our
not
family.
ageist, we're age powerful.
We're age powerful. And I was going to say, we have, you and I have bonded over the LGBTQ community, LGBTQ plus community, and there's a lot of things I don't want to go back on.
Yes.
And there's a lot of rights and freedoms that we take for granted now that we didn't always have. And the NDP and, well, yourself, I know has been supportive in the past speaking at our flag raisings.
Yes.
You know, when me and some friends got together and started Lethbridge Pride Fest,
Yes.
there was people saying, you guys can't have a pride, you can't have a flag raised, you definitely can't have a parade. And like, we've just come so far, and I know that you've spoken at our flag raisings
Yes.
over the years, and some of the
We
government...
light City Hall up
Yeah,
now.
like with Rainbow, I mean, we're very blessed, and the city has moved forward with us on that. Is there anything you can say about stance or commitment to LGBTQ community?
Okay, so a friend of mine, Devin,
Okay,
who's actually going to run against me, but we're still
A
friends.
a
We're
mutual
still
friend
friends.
of ours. A
Yes.
mutual friend of ours.
He came to our office and he talked about the petition that he's done on conversion therapy.
Yes. Great.
And I am so proud of him for what he's done on that. And it's gone to Parliament,
Yeah.
and it needed to go to Parliament
Yeah.
because it's one thing to have a law within the province,
Yeah.
but if the law has no teeth, then it means very little.
I want to also give a shout out to Jen Takahashi.
Yes, Jen Takahashi.
For
Yes.
her work on that with him.
Yes.
They've done a great job with that.
Oh,
it's
they really have.
needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a new movie about conversion therapy and how damaging it really is.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
one of my colleagues, MLA Nicole Garing, actually has a bill that's ready to go forward, and I don't know if it'll happen because whenever there's a throne speech, everything that happened before, if it wasn't finished, it dies, right?
Right.
However,
Okay.
what we did with the Hanson Trust, which was a bill that had died on the floor, we brought it back in that session, or the next session, and it was passed as a bill. So I'm hoping
Wow.
that Nicole has it ready to come back right away.
Mhm.
And again, it'll depend on how long we're in session before an election's called. But I am really hoping that it's going to come forward. So that brings me to the next thing I want to talk about.
please.
So if you know anything about me, you know that, and in fact I spoke last week briefly at I Stand Against Sexual Violence.
Yeah.
So domestic violence is a very personal thing to me, and I have some work done on a bill that I was hoping was going to come forward.
Okay.
It'll depend. It's a private member's bill, so it'll depend on what gets done. So private members' bills are all based on a draw. So anybody who's interested in doing a private member bill notifies the Speaker's office and says you wanna do a private member's bill. You kind of talk about what it's about, and then all the names go in a hat.
Okay.
And they draw.
That's how
and
they
you,
do it.
And that's right, and you get a number. So in the last session, I was 268.
Oh,
So it begins at
talk about going back to basics,
Yes,
pulling
yeah.
out of a hat. So,
Yes.
so now you're put to 278 with this bill.
so 268 was
268.
for the last time.
Okay.
So this time, I think I'm 204.
Okay.
So it begins
Okay.
at 200, but private members' bills are only done Monday afternoon for 2 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so you have to get 3 readings and a committee of the whole for your bill to pass. And it can't be a money bill because that can only be done by the ministries. So there's a lot of...
What is this bill that you want to pass? What is
it's,
this?
No, it's a
Or-
bill about domestic and
violence.
sexual violence. And I can't tell you anymore.
Okay.
You'll have to wait to see
Okay.
if it comes forward.
Okay.
But I've actually had it in my head right from the beginning,
Wow.
and I just never got drawn close enough to get anything forward.
That issue rings very true to us, and that doesn't just affect LGBTQ plus community. That affects everybody.
Yeah.
And so that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a goal for you.
Yeah. So I have always said that our world would be a better place if everybody respected everybody else.
100%.
And when I spoke last week at the I Stand Against
Yeah.
evening, I said it is important that you respect yourself and you demand that other people treat you with respect. And if they don't, you don't need them in your life.
Yeah.
You just don't. So it is important that you respect yourself, and nobody touches your body unless you say so.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I believe in that.
Good.
job.
Good.
Good job. I touched your
and
body.
I'm a toucher, right? I'm a toucher.
So I want to thank Maria. We're not wrapping up yet. We still got a little bit of time here. I want to thank Maria because really, I don't think she knew what she was getting in for by coming on the show with us. But you've been a good sport, and definitely it's a great conversation. I love listening. Is there anything else you'd like to highlight today?
Well, I think if you look back over the last 4 years that we've been in government, we're just about to go into an election.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I made a commitment at the beginning of the last, when I was running, and I said that I would represent Lethbridge East. And I have been true to my word every single day since I was elected. And I want to continue to do that for 4 more years. Maybe longer, but I think at least four more. There were so many reasons that I got involved in politics, but one of them was because I was ticked off with the things that were going on in the field of corrections.
Okay.
And to me, I've worked in that field for 32 and a half years.
That's good work.
That was, to me, I could see lives change. And in the federal government, tough on crime came down. It was not tough on crime. It cost billions of dollars more, and it set up every single person who was in the system for failure.
Wow.
So I was very angry about it, and I came back from Ottawa, and I realized that similar things were happening here.
Okay.
So I had to, my dad always said to me, don't complain unless you're doing something about it. So I stepped up, and that's what I did. Yeah.
And we're glad you did.
Thank you.
Now, to just not be, we're supposed to be interviewing here, talk show. So, okay, so we've said a lot of the good things. Is there anything that you think that NDP or you guys could do, or you could do better? We're talking about a lot of the successes and things you are doing. Is there anything that you think could be worked on?
Well, I don't know if better is the word that I'd use.
Okay.
There was so much that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
There isn't enough time.
Right. 4 years, it goes quick.
Yes. So what I realized is that everything that we do does take time. And you've got to have so many hours of debate in the House at first or at second reading. You have to have so many hours in committee of the whole. And when you look at the number of hours that you spend in the legislature and the number of hours that you're in the community, because you have to talk in your community about what you're doing.
Right. I see how busy you are, all of you.
So I was kind of thinking, I can't make 6 more hours in every day.
Right.
And 6 more hours would really be helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope you've been enjoying our conversation with Maria. It's educational for sure. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to do something a little bit fun to end off our show.
Okay.
Do you think we've covered our stuff for today?
Yes.
We're good?
Yes.
Is there anything we can do to support the NDP? What can we tell people?
You can get out and you can vote, and you can vote NDP.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to play a fun little game with Maria here for our last 8 minutes. Let's see what we're going to do. So this is just a would you rather.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with her party or anything. This is just would you rather. So we're going to hear her answers first, a couple questions. Oh, my gosh. Would you rather be alone for the rest of your life or always be surrounded by annoying people? So alone or surrounded by annoying people?
All right, that's a really difficult question because I love having people around me.
Yeah.
But I don't find that everybody's annoying.
Right.
Okay, there's some. And
these people are annoying all the time. These particular people, if you're going to be around them.
Okay, so there are people that have spoken to me that are annoying.
Yeah.
And there are people that I see probably 2 or 3 times a week that are annoying. But you know something, I've had a philosophy for a long time that people are the way they are for a reason. And I can't judge them.
Right.
You know, I may find it annoying, but I can deal with people.
So I think you would definitely rather be with annoying people than be alone. You're a people person.
Okay, I'm definitely a people person, but I like some personal time.
Okay.
And when I get up in the morning, I don't put my hearing aids in
Yeah.
until somebody else is up. So I have quiet, alone time first thing in the morning, every morning. Can't hear a
That's
thing.
one of the benefits of hearing aids is you can be surrounded by people who are quote unquote annoying
Yeah.
and just take your hearing aids out.
Yes, but once I put them in, they're in.
Oh, there
Yeah.
you go.
Okay, so we're just having some fun here. So would you rather be completely invisible for one day, or would you rather to be able to fly for one day? So
Oh.
invisibility for a day, or
No.
flying?
No, flying. I like flying, yeah.
Yeah, that's not flying a plane. That means you get to fly.
Yes, I would love that.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, here's one more. Would you rather die in 20 years with no regrets, or die in 50 years with many regrets?
Oh, no regrets. No
Always,
regrets.
Always
Yeah.
no regrets.
Yeah. Now, I will tell you that I have a great aunt who lived to be 106, and I have one remaining aunt on my dad's side
Okay.
who will be 98 on April the 6th. And last year she had to go to have her license renewed. So she redid
Whoa.
the driving test, redid the written test, passed with flying colors.
So one of your aunts lived over 105?
106.
106. Imagine how many degrees she can get at the University of Lethbridge in that much time, people.
Exactly. Well, there's so much more I want to do.
Yeah.
However, no regrets is
Right.
definitely the answer.
I think live
Yes.
with no regrets, too.
Yes.
I just go, yeah. So I know we're only 5 minutes to wrapping up the show. I got sidetracked. Do we want to go back to that Harold story?
Okay. So every time I do my column,
Yeah.
there's always people who will roast me
Right.
over something.
Of course.
So I wanted to acknowledge the person who roasted me about the infrastructure, and I absolutely acknowledge what you said. The Conservatives did build the shell of the hospital.
Yeah.
We finished it and we staffed it because it's no good if it's an empty building. So I want to acknowledge that, and certainly I do check those things out, and if there's credence to what somebody has said, then what can I do that will fix that?
Right.
So, thank you for those who write in, good or bad. It doesn't matter. I read them all. And if I can learn a lesson from that, I try to learn the lesson.
We definitely know from working on Pride Board and owning a business, you get a lot of people who are sayers but not doers.
Yes.
And like your dad said, if you're not, do it.
If you got a complaint, do something,
do something about
it.
it, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
My dad always said, I'd rather you come to me with a solution than a problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, that's something I always try to do. If I have a problem with something, not somebody, I try to, come up with some solution in my mind first and approach them with it. That way I'm helping before I even open my
I'm
mouth.
not complaining until I think about what I could do to fix it.
Yeah.
What you
Yeah.
can do better about it.
Yeah.
I'm opening a can of worms here, but I got to just ask you a couple things true to my heart. As a business owner for the last
Yes.
16 years, I've had a lot of success in my business. All the listeners know I own Catwalk Salon Spa. Man, it has been tough since October for business owners.
Okay.
So I'm really happy that my employees get more holiday pay.
Mm-hmm.
But on the stats, they're all getting holiday pay and they're equal wage and stuff. But it's been a little bit tough on business owners. Is there anything that would be helping with that for business from the government? I know, I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Okay, so as a government, we did reduce the business tax
Okay.
from 3 to 2%.
Okay.
All right, so if you look across the country,
Yeah.
we pay the lowest business
So
taxes.
in Alberta?
In Alberta, we have the
The lowest
lowest
business
business
tax?
taxes right across the country.
Okay.
Certainly, if there's some things that you think we can do, like you said, what kind of solution do you
Yeah.
offer? Because I'm not going back on minimum wage.
Right. No,
I'm
I don't-
absolutely. yeah.
I wonder how some people survive. And I'm
Yeah.
saying I have success in my business,
Yeah.
and I wonder if it's hurting my bottom line this much. I
Yeah.
worry about some of the other businesses that
Yeah.
are struggling to really, produce. So, I want the small business owners to
Yeah.
succeed and continue because
Yeah.
I'm so proud of that.
Yeah. So I've had a couple of people come to see, and only a couple who've come
Yeah.
to see me.
Yeah.
And I did ask them to bring in their business plan
Mhm.
so I could have a look at their business plan. Neither one of them would bring their business
really?
plan in. Yeah.
Well, I'd show you mine.
Yeah. So the thing is, I think that if somebody from outside has a look, maybe there's something that you're just too close to the forest to see the trees. And maybe there's some suggestion I could make. I don't know. I'm not a business owner. My dad had a corner grocery store, and he raised 6 kids
Right.
with the profits that he made at that. And his business ended when supermarkets came in.
Right.
And my dad was in his 50s when that happened, and my dad thought, solution, right? My dad actually started taking an engineering course, and he learned to do some things that he would use those skills with. He got a job, and he continued to work till he was probably 72 or 73.
Yeah.
And when he decided he was actually retiring, the company that hired him kept saying, would you come back and do this
Right.
one
Just
job?
one more job?
This one job. And he had a team of guys that worked for him. They had absolutely no turnover on his team
Right.
for the entire time that he worked there. So, I mean, there's things, look for a solution.
Yeah.
And if you can't find one, then, go to somebody who's a specialist in that area.
Well, I find a lot of these business owners are coming to me
Yeah.
looking
yeah.
for advice.
Because your
I'm
business is
successful. And so,
Yeah.
I just thought I'd better ask that question for some because, and you're right. Businesses have to adapt. But I'm a big fan of the support local.
Yeah.
Even your salon is local. Support the local restaurants, businesses. I do some shopping at big boxes, but I do
Yeah.
try to spread it out as
Yes.
much as possible.
And that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I shop at businesses throughout Lethbridge, but I really try to focus in my riding.
Yeah.
And I try to go to different restaurants that are in my riding because I do want to support small business. It was interesting. Years ago, there was a place in Edmonton when I lived there called the Sawmill.
Yeah.
And the place was packed every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And you could go there and you could get a steak sandwich for like $7.
Right.
So you had a steak sandwich, some fries, and I don't know, maybe a garlic bun or something for $7. And it was a steak that was like an inch and a half thick.
Yeah.
And it was like butter. Like, it was fabulous. And somebody said that's why it's a success. They have good food, good service, and a good price.
Right.
So there's combinations depending on what you're.
I thought you were going to tell me they were packed all the time, but they were broke and didn't have a good business
No. They were a success
Yeah.
because they had.
All
This
those
was
key
part
things.
of their business plan.
Yeah.
Good food, good service, and the staff that worked there did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
So one of the women who was a server there, I went in the first time I went in. I told her what I wanted to drink, and it was like a ginger ale with lime juice in it.
Yeah.
And I never ever had to tell her what I wanted to drink ever again.
Yeah. Well, that's key. Good customer service. I mean, I will.
Yeah.
I will always go for good customer service.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so that's a huge key to success.
And if somebody treats me with respect
Yeah.
and they acknowledge who you are and they welcome you when you come in, you're going back there again.
Well, that's great. We all still want a little bit of money in that bank account. At
I
the
know,
end.
I know.
No, and I would not want to see minimum wage go back either.
Yeah.
I'm proud that we have
Yeah.
that for our people because
Yeah.
life's expensive out there.
It is. So I will tell you, Australia has $20 is their minimum wage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can do that, but
No, but what I'm saying
We
is,
can't afford it. Our staff would love it.
Right.
what I'm saying is, if you have a will to have something somewhere, you can do it, and you look at a whole picture and what kind of impact would that have if you went there? Is the cost of living more expensive in Australia than it is here? Probably more than it is certainly in Lethbridge.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of amazing, like Australia has some great, amazing things. Like they have like the no gun rule, and also, and I was gonna say Canada, we were like the second country to have legalized marijuana. So
Yeah.
we're there's all
We're moving.
We're moving forward. We're doing
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap.
That is our hour.
I hope you enjoyed our talk with Maria here tonight. We certainly did.
We did. Thanks so
I
much
did,
for
too.
coming
Good.
and
Really
being a part of our
good.
show.
I think we'll get some feedback on this episode, and please keep your constructive comments there. And
Come to us with solutions.
and,
Excellent. Yes.
And she does read your comments from her weekly or monthly newsletter. Monthly
Yeah.
letter in the Herald.
So you can write in with your concerns to the Herald.
And
Certainly can.
I think we're
Or
gonna
you can send it right to the office.
send it right to the
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to have Maria back if she's game, if she got scared off after watching this show and listening. Thanks again so much for coming today.
You are very welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
night.
You asked for it.